What's a Lower East Side guy doing playing someone from Georgia?
Tell me about it, man. It's the same thing I asked myself when they came to me with the project. I'm like, I don't know if I'm your guy, man. I don't know if I'm, what am I doing? But yeah.
Right.
It worked out. It worked out.
It's working out.
It's working out. Correct. Yeah. You know, project came along and Lower East Side, Puerto Rican, New Yorican kid, man, who was out there just hustling away and was lucky enough to get the opportunity and did a bunch of work to try to do something that could authentically try to represent that character.
Which is just
the dialect work, all that. You know, the guys from Atlanta, Georgia, raised in the foster care systems, dyslexic, all these sort of little nuances about him I want to try to get right.
And it's sitting there on ABC on Tuesday nights at 8 Eastern now. Available episodes the next day on Hulu, which obviously you can watch right here on Roku. Will Trent, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Ramon Rodriguez is here with our radio audience now, one big happy family with our Roku channel. Will Trent again on Tuesdays at 8 Eastern on ABC. And it is good to see you. Lower East Side of Manhattan is where you grew up. Where?
Yes.
Which particular neighborhood?
9th and C.
Okay.
9th and C, then moved my way up slowly.
Alphabet City.
Correct.
Okay.
When it was Alphabet City, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from a certain era, I guess, of
I get
New York
it.
City.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then eventually just moved up and in the East Village.
Okay. How did you get involved in acting? How did that start for you?
Through sports, weirdly enough, through basketball. So I'm a big basketball fan, player, loved it, grew up playing it. Was lucky enough to get a scholarship that got me out of the Lower East Side and brought me to Northern Michigan, my junior and senior year of high school.
Northern Michigan.
Which
town?
North of Traverse City.
Sorry,
smaller town.
You're talking about the Upper Peninsula of New York?
Just south of the UP.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
A place called Glen Arbor, and a school called the Leelanau School. Tiny school.
How the hell did you find that?
That was through a kid from Brooklyn who went to that school and played there years before me, and he knew that I was trying to find a way to get out of my sort of situation on the Lower East Side. He knew my passion for the game of basketball, and he had a wonderful experience there. Sharon, big kid from Brooklyn. He was 6'8", and he had a great time over there. And so he introduced me to some folks there. They came to see me play, and they offered me a scholarship, which got me into this prep school, junior, senior of high school. And then I wanted to play in college. That was my dream, is to be able to do that and to do it on a scholarship. I was raised with my mom and 3 sisters in the Lower East Side. I didn't want my mom to have to deal with the financial burden.
Sure.
And so I was lucky enough. I had to make my own little highlight reel tape, because I was in the middle of nowhere. And I did great up there in Northern Michigan, but nobody knew, it's a tiny school.
Right.
And so I made my own VHS highlight reel.
Yeah, you did.
And I went and hustled and pushed it out there, and I ended up getting a scholarship to play down at a school in West Virginia called Wheeling Jesuit University, D2 school. Played 2 years there, went back to New York, studied at NYU sports marketing. Buddy of mine invites me to a Nike event to do basketball tricks. And I almost didn't go. He told me they were giving away free sneakers. I was like, I'll be right there. And I won the event. And I was able to do a trick in front of this panel of judges. I had 30 seconds where I was always able to sort of handle the ball as a point guard.
Right.
Spin the ball on my finger, keep the ball spinning, put it on a pen, put the pen in my mouth, ball keep spinning. I won the event. I got the sneakers, which was huge. And then Nike was like, we'd love for you to come be a part of some commercials with us. And so
that's how you got
into
acting.
That's what put me in front of the camera.
Which commercial? Do we know them?
Yeah, they were pretty popular. I mean, there was several ad campaigns. One of the first ones were, it was with Vince Carter. It was a 1975 Nike Rucker commercial. And it was when Vince came out with the Nike Shocks. It was the first time those Nike Shocks came out. And I had to dress in like these little 1975 Rucker Park, tiny poom poom shorts with an afro. And I did this behind the back pass to Vince, who catches it and windmills it. And that was one of, and then there were others that were huge, and did really well. And that was what started it.
So if I'm picking up on this, that your dream of playing college basketball at a certain level did not materialize, but acting allowed you to dish it to Vince Carter.
Well, that's what you're basically telling me. The dream was, let's be honest, the dream as you're growing up, I wanted to play pro. That was not going to happen. You realize very quickly. I got to play against some great players that I grew up with. Smush Parker ended up playing for the Lakers. We played, so I got to play against great people.
Yeah.
But the dream was, you want to be in the league.
Madison Square Garden.
No doubt, without a doubt. And so what ended up being really fun was after those Nike commercials, we started a group called the Nike Freestylers that were all part of the Nike Freestyle commercial, which is one of the other big campaigns. And we did every NBA team's halftime show. And we worked with NBA players on these commercials. So what was really great is we'd see the players coming back from halftime and they're watching us do our thing. And we were like, cool. We didn't get to play in the league, but we definitely got to sort of show our skills, do our thing in front of that audience at these arenas all over the country. And we traveled around the world. It was amazing.
Are you serious?
Yeah, true story.
Did you really throw this behind the back pass?
Yeah, because it's
is that a
sick.
legit pass?
Yeah.
That's a legit one take because Vince came in, he did one take.
What?
And that was it. And that
This
But
pass
you're
is-
looking at the
this pass
commercial
is
right now?
Stupid. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
They're running a break. You're wearing number
Correct.
17.
That's it.
And you toss the ball behind, and Vince goes up and
he does a windmill
Yeah,
on
yeah,
one take.
yeah.
And I'll never and then we got to work, I went to Asia with Vince and we did stuff with Nike in Asia with Vince Carter and all these. It was fun, for 6 years basketball was my life. I had no idea that it would somehow lead to where, I'm getting to act and do this as a living. Like no clue. My passion was sports. I worked for the Knicks for a year as an intern, sports marketing.
You an intern for the New York Knickerbockers,
Which was huge.
Which season was this? Do you remember?
2001. 2001, Sprewell, Allen Houston, Marcus Camby, and I was in community relations. I studied sports marketing. I was in the community relations department, so I would work with getting the players to events, MLK Day, various events. And the fun thing was when the Nike stuff started happening and taking off, as I told you, we would do halftime shows. Everyone in the office knew me as a suit in community relations. And then at one point, the Knicks booked us to do the halftime show. And so I would do game nights as well, where I would bring, Allen Houston would have his seats for the kids from various schools, or Latrell Sprewell. I'd bring the kids to their seats, give them gift bags, but they happened like twice. I'd give the bag at the top of the game, and then I'd have to go and change into my uniform and do the halftime show, and then put back on the suit. And the kids were like, was that you in the middle of the court? And even all the other sort of coworkers were like,
It's like Superman.
they
You're
were
like
like,
Clark
what
Kent,
are you
man.
doing? And some of my coworkers were blown because they had no idea either. They didn't know, that I
And
could
you
do
had game and you could do this sort
No
of thing.
idea. They knew me as someone that worked community relations in the office and showed up Monday through Friday. They didn't know that sort of my side hustling gig was doing basketball tricks.
Damn, man.
that's awesome.
Ramon Rodriguez of Will Trent right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, so, man, so many different ways to go
Yeah,
with
sorry.
this. No, this is great.
Top 5 NYC point guards. Go.
Ooh. Is that a serious question?
Go for it.
It can
Well, are we talking that made it to the league or just street ballers?
You can
Name it.
Throw 'em out there.
I mean,
it's your floor.
Skip to My Lou forever will be up there. I love Skip, but I'll go even beyond.
Sweet Pete Daniels,
Who's that?
Lloyd Daniels. Do you
Lloyd
remember?
Daniels, sure. Kenny, and not Kenny's.
Kenny Anderson.
Kenny Anderson.
Kenny Anderson, thank you very much. Kenny Anderson. Who else?
It's Marbury, baby.
No doubt. I'll give you Starberry for sure. You see, that's the thing. It's like there's different categories. There's folks that made it to the
Yeah,
league, and then
guys
there's the
didn't.
ones that didn't.
Right.
And so it just depends.
Rod Strickland.
Strickland for sure.
Mark Jackson.
Jackson, loved him.
No,
Absolutely. No. I loved him. I
okay.
loved him. It's just different style of play. You
Yeah.
know, I always
What was your play?
gravitated-
What was your style of play? I can kind of guess from what you've described.
I mean, again, I grew up playing with a lot of those, with Skip and Smush, and so, I love to have fun. I mean, I'm a classic point guard in New York. You got to know how to handle the ball. Michigan is where I learned how to shoot, because you can't go to, it's amazing what happened when I got there and how well those kids could really shoot the ball, and I can't try to take that back with me. Ed Booger Smith, another one. Just anyway.
So then, now that we're here in the present day, what I've been saying here, 'cause again, I'm from Staten Island, which is, as I told you in the green room, I'm from the lower west side of Manhattan.
Yeah.
Okay. So, of New York City. So, Jalen Brunson is one of my favorite Knicks of all time. Bernard King is my favorite Knick. I saw him at the game the other day. It was awesome to see him.
Yep.
What Jalen Brunson's doing right now is truly
It's
off
really
the charts.
incredible. It's really phenomenal. And I think just who he is, like how he plays, but just who that guy is. He's easy to root for. He's easy to get behind. He sets a tone, and just how the team is playing. I'm thrilled. I'm very excited for tonight's game.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Yeah,
and
I'm so pumped.
it just there's nothing like again, I'm biased, so I'll assume that we're biased.
Yeah.
There's nothing like when the Garden is just lit.
Nothing like it. And it's the truth. I've played and I've performed at every NBA arena. There's something about the Garden, the energy, the people, even just the building itself.
Correct.
Hasn't changed really. It's also like a labyrinth. Once you work there, you really learn the inner outings of it.
Well, isn't it on like the 6th floor of a bit right?
And it's got like beneath it everything that's going on. So it's like there's tunnels in there that it's a really, really fascinating building. But that arena shakes. I've been at the nosebleeds. I've been on the floor, and it's a wonderful energy. And when that team, the way we're playing now, it's just undeniable, man. It's hard not to get pumped and proud about it.
For sure. So I guess one last thing on your basketball career. What's your best stat line, Ramon?
My best stat line?
Yes, sir. No matter where it was.
I led Northern Michigan in scoring my junior and senior year. I averaged 26 points a game. That was awesome.
26.
But within New York, I'm proud to say that I've played in every major league. Rucker, Westforth, Dykeman. I got to play on those courts. And by the way, that feeling, like the Garden is one thing, but New York City street ball and playing on those courts, you want to talk about pressure. Like where people are really, the audience, everyone's active. Like Dykeman, you have like Dominican Power Team, and that place is rocking. There's just nothing like it. So I'm glad and grateful I got to have that experience.
Man, and anybody who was wondering how great of an actor you are, the fact that you're playing someone in the Georgia Bureau of Investigation for hit drama.
Anybody who's watching this is going to be like, Will Trent plays ball? Like, I don't buy that at all.
Will Trent can hoop.
That's amazing.
I'm assuming they definitely know your history.
I don't talk about this. It's not something...
Because, half the tricks, what if you actually incorporated it in some part of your plot line or something?
I try to avoid that because it's an easy, and also it's like the character's different. He's not me. He's not Ramon. And so I like to honor that. But recently, for instance, we just did a spot for the NBA Finals because it's on ABC.
Yes.
Will Trent. And so they brought in the trophy, which was amazing, by the way.
Larry O'Brien.
Larry O'Brien got to hold it and kiss it.
Fantastic.
And they had no idea, and they did the ads. I hope I don't spoil it for everybody, whatever. It's a ball bouncing in its various shows, and I catch the ball, and they don't know what I'm going to do. And then suddenly I just start doing my thing with it, and they're thrilled. And everyone on the set was like, wait a minute. Like, you play ball? Like, some people thought it was like a VFX thing going on. Like, is this some sort of weird? I was like, no, this was another life that I lived, that basketball. I still shoot around. I don't play the way I did, but it was a big part of my life. I slept with my basketball, man. You'd hear me coming down the street because I'd be dribbling my ball.
So in this promo, people are like, "Well, wait a minute, what the hell was that?"
It's going to be weird. It's going to be weird. Yeah.
Especially since it's the cast of Abbott Elementary being called for traveling, right? What do you just pass the ball to somebody else?
3-second violation.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Kimmel's like called for a double dribble or something like that.
Nice.
Oh, you got some action. Fantastic. So preparing for this role, you were kind of alluding to it. To learn the accent for your character.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I found an amazing dialect coach, really, really talented guy who's worked with a lot of people. And we just sort of try to hone in on, geographically where this guy grew up. What was his background like? What was he exposed to? Which is what sort of shapes our sounds. And we kind of found a great inspiration in just the sound, not trying to mimic, but just to be inspired by some of the sound and cadence. And Andre 3000 from Outkast, who's got a wonderful sound and cadence, is from Atlanta. There was a lot of things I could sort of pick up from in his sounds and help attribute and inspire the character's voice. And it was amazing because it really helped me figure out who this character was locking in the sound of his voice. And then everything else, from the wardrobe and the 3-piece suit. I don't wear a 3-piece suit every day. The moment I put that on, and the shoes that are beat up and old, I love those shoes. It just says everything about who this guy is. Everything is like, it's textured, it's old. He's, and the 3-piece suit is like his armor. He likes to keep people away from him at a distance. And so anyway, it was a lot of fun sort of finding these different layers to help build this guy.
And obviously built based on a best-selling series as well. So there's a lot of source material for you to draw from.
A lot of source material. Karen Slaughter wrote these amazing books, so many of them. She's still writing them now. So there's a big fan base. And so that took a bit of an adjustment, which is interesting always when you're taking something that was written and has a fan base and then adapting it to TV or film. some people get very protective of it. They're like, that's not. And so Rich, at first people were like, that's not who I imagined for Will Trent. And by the way, I felt the same way. So it was kind of funny when they first came to me.
Sure.
But I think what ended up happening, which is great, little by little, people just sort of, enjoyed the show and started buying into these characters and just said, the show's the show. They'll see some things that come from the books, but we're not sort of doing a chronological, literal translation of these books.
Tuesdays at 8 Eastern on ABC. Will Trent, Ramon Rodriguez here on the show. Before I let you go, we go down some pop culture memory lane. You're on one of the greatest, if not the greatest, television show ever in The Wire. What in the world was that like for you? How old were you when you were on that set? What stories can you spin here?
So that was coming off of spinning.
Okay.
That was coming off of tricks, doing tricks, and with Nike. I was in my mid-20s, 26 years old, and these Nike commercials had then led me to get some other, opportunities, and I started falling in love with acting and started taking classes, but that job, that experience, shooting in Baltimore, I knew a little bit about the show when I got the job, and
it was
then
like what, seasons 4 and 5, right?
4 and 5, and on top of that, like to work alongside, in my opinion, maybe the greatest character on television ever, in Omar.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace, Michael K. Williams.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderfully talented spirit and soul. That was a game changer, that experience. It really changed my life, and understanding how great something can be. I'd read those scripts, and it just was the best stories, the best writing I've ever read. It spoiled me because it was early on in my career. I didn't really understand much about the business yet. I hadn't done much acting at that point.
That's like being a rookie and going to the Super Bowl.
Correct. It's actually it could be bad. Where it's like
Right.
You go, it's not like this all the time. No, it's not. And so I quickly learned after that. I was like, got it. This was a very special, unique show experience with a very intelligent creator, amazing cast, and the beauty of the business is if you're around long enough, sometimes you get to work with some friends. And I was able to bring my coworker from The Wire, who we never had scenes together, but I brought on Will Trent, or at least, we auditioned her, and I really loved her work. Sonia Sohn.
She's great in that too, man.
The Wire. It was really phenomenal to be able to bring her on and work with her again, just because she's so talented. And so, yeah, that show was a game changer and remarkable. And it's one of those things you go, that might never happen like that again.
Dude, what a story. What a path you have traveled. From the Lower East Side to Northern Michigan to a Jesuit school in West Virginia from all the, I guess, blacktop parks in New York City and what you were able to do with the basketball and how that led to some opportunities. And you wound up on The Wire, for crying out loud.
Tell me about it, man.
And now on a hit show where you're playing someone from Georgia. The hell?
Weird.
It's not weird. It's awesome is what it is.
Yeah.
Ramon Rodriguez, thanks for coming on here. Let's do this as often as you like. If you want to come in and break down any of the NBA playoffs or whatever, talk about it.
I love that, man. Yeah.
Seriously.
Awesome.
Anytime.
Okay.
We are here.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
You got it.
Thank you all, man.
Ramon
Appreciate
Rodriguez here on the Rich Eisen Show. Catch Will Trent again Tuesdays at 8 on ESPN, on ABC, pardon me, and then available the next day on Hulu. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.